This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 4th day of January in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Retired Commissioner of Police Leslie James took the stand today as the Elections Commission of Inquiry restarted after the Christmas season break. Mr. James was the police commissioner at the time of the 2020 elections and the controversy that erupted in the GCOM Command Center at the Ashman's building. He testified today that the situation at the GCOM Command Center became chaotic and turned into mayhem on the 5th of March 2020 during the voting tabulation, forcing the Guyana Police Force to send in additional security support. During his testimony, the former police commissioner disputed testimony that was provided earlier in the inquiry by Assistant Commissioner Edgar Thomas that he was stripped of his responsibility for the Regional Division 4, owing to his efforts to safeguard the Region 4 statements of poll. Mr. James testified today that instead Thomas was relieved of his command as he became unreachable by phone and radio.
My first attempt, as I said earlier, were the radio network.
Yes.
And when my effort to have to contact him was futile, I tried the telephone.
Cellular or landline?
Cellular phones. As far as I remembered, I used both of my telephones, and I tried making contact with the number that I expected. In fact, I was communicating with him all along, prior to that date.
The former police commissioner said with calls to the assistant commissioner going unanswered, he appointed Thomas's deputy, Superintendent Philip Azor, to act as the regional commander. According to James, it was after Mr. Thomas was informed later that day that he must stand down from the post that he attempted to make contact. Maintaining that he never spoke to Mr. Thomas on the 5th of March 2020, the former police commissioner explained that after viewing live footage from the command center, which was housed in the Ashman's building, he instructed that the Tactical Services Unit report to the command center at the Ashman's building. He said at no time did he instruct the unit to clear the building, but rather to have it secured.
Mr. Thomas testified that you were forcing the point that people must vacate the building. What do you say?
That is not so.
Mr. Thomas said that you were insisting that everyone except the special branch ranks should vacate the building.
That is not so. The presence of special branch ranks, they would have been the security detail for the chair of GCOM.
His response drew concern from retired Chief Justice Carl Singh, who is sitting as a commissioner on the election COI. He questioned him about why he did not take action after realizing that his instructions were not being followed.
After viewing a footage, and in addition, I tried making contact with the commander, because what I was seeing was clearly disorder, in my view. And I can also refer to it as mayhem, which was contrary to what was expected to be happening at that GCOM location.
The former top cop was also quizzed about the security of the GCOM personnel, including the Elections Commission chair, and what steps he took to ensure their safety. He said there were systems in place to ensure the safety of the GCOM Command Center. It was put to him by one of the commissioners that those systems appeared to have broken down. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Office Max, We're all about customer satisfaction, whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance. We're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Fireside Suite, standard and unique. Room fresh and nice, comfortable and neat. 24-hour whole day we a do it. Affordable price down a Garnet Street, yo. Can't vex, cause we top of the line. Fireside are the best, 5-star we a shine. From you come one time, we tag a left on your mind. To tell your family, your friend, them one more time set. Best service a Fireside Suite. Safety ensure down a Fireside Suite. Price them cheap down a Fireside Suite. Come enjoy your stay down a Fireside Suite. Fireside Suite located at 154 Garnet Street, Kitty. For bookings and reservation, call contact number 623-3473. Matic Queen.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Now let's tell you that the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, has been bestowed with Guyana's second highest national award, the Order of Roraima. Dr. Gonsalves is currently in Guyana on an official 4-day visit. During a reception in his honor at the official residence of the President last evening, the award was presented to the long-standing regional politician in recognition of his tireless commitment and unflinching contributions to the Caribbean and the people of the Caribbean. In brief remarks, President Irfanali also praised the Prime Minister for solidarity with Guyana in protecting the country's democracy and territorial integrity. The President said Prime Minister Gonsalves is a Caribbean man whose contributions to the region must be recognized and celebrated.
Dr. Gonsalves is a Caribbean man, a national of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He has labored on the issue of regionalism, recognizing that our Caribbean civilization will remain stronger when we speak with one voice and act collectively. I congratulate Prime Minister Gonsalves on this induction into the Orders of Guyana. I thank him for his steadfast leadership and wise counsel. I applaud, as do all Guyana, his commitment to democracy, peace, security, and the development of the Caribbean.
Prime Minister Gonsalves thanked the President and the people of Guyana for the national award and reflected on close relations that continue to exist between Guyana and St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
I want to say, first of all, that I'm very humbled by the bestowal upon me this great honor of your republic. I accept with humility this honor, not really for myself, but for all the persons who have worked, with whom I have worked over the very many years since my first involvement as a political activist in 1968. I'm a political activist now for in excess of 54 years. So I've been in this regional integration movement for a very long time.
He also promised that the two sister CARICOM states will continue to work together in a number of areas and strengthen their partnerships and commitment to each other and the region. With over 300 active cases of COVID-19 in the country, the Ministry of Health is encouraging persons who are still not vaccinated to get vaccinated. And those who are fully vaccinated are being encouraged to get a booster dose. The Ministry of Health has indicated that it has vaccines available across the country, and persons should still safeguard themselves against COVID-19 cases. The number of new COVID-19 cases has seen an increase in the past 3 weeks, and the Health Ministry has also reported 3 additional deaths in the past week alone. Based on the ministry's records, all 3 of those persons who died recently were unvaccinated. Health officials have been paying close attention to the increase in new cases and are bracing themselves for any additional increase following the holiday season. While face masks are no longer a requirement, persons are still being encouraged to safeguard themselves by using those face masks, especially when in large crowd settings or out in the public. With an oil economy that has taken off, Guyana is now becoming a hotspot for private, foreign investments and even investments from the local private sector. But the government is also up to the task, President Irfan Ali told international news agency Al Jazeera in a recent interview. During that interview, the president spoke about investments that are currently being made to improve the country's infrastructure, education, and health sectors, and further investments in the creation of industries to set the stage to attract even more foreign businesses here.
Also seeing a lot of private investment that is coming in all these sectors. And that is because people are seeing the direction in which the country is going, the vision where we are positioning Guyana. So we have investment in healthcare, investment in housing, private investment in education, educational services. The carbon is traded on international markets. So we have a mixture of government and private sector investment.
Those private investments that the country is now attracting is playing a key role in fast-tracking the country's growth and development, President Ali noted. He said his government's plan is clear on what it needs to achieve and how the country must be developed, adding that while outside help is welcome, the country's developmental agenda takes precedence.
One of the important things that we must do is to improve disposable income at every household, to give people access to basic facilities, water, electricity, food, and those things we have put in place. We understand what it takes to manage a country without resources. So we more than understand the responsibility that comes with managing a country with resource, with this opportunity to transform the lives of every single person.
The president also told Al Jazeera that the government is also cautious about its management of the oil and gas sector. He explained that the aim is to improve the lives of every Guyanese and to afford them basic services, even as he shrugged off criticism that the oil resources are not being felt directly by citizens.
Fireside suite standard and unique. Room fresh and nice, comfortable and neat. 24-hour whole day we a do it. Affordable price on a Garnet Street, yo. Can't vex, cause we top of the line. Fireside are the best, 5-star we a shine. From you come one time, we tag a left on your mind. To tell your family, your friend, them one more time say. Best service a Fireside suite. Safety ensured on a Fireside suite. Price them cheap on a Fireside suite. Come enjoy your stay on a Fireside suite. Fireside suite located at 154 Garnet Street, Kitty. For bookings and reservation, call contact number 623-3473.
Turning now to the housing sector, with over 10,000 house lots distributed in 2022 by the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the Ministry of Housing intends to work to ease the wait time for those applicants still waiting a response and allotment. According to the Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell, this year we'll see new housing areas being developed in regions 3 to 7, while government houses will be built in all 10 regions.
I am happy to report that we rose to the challenge and exceeded our target for house lot allocation for 2022 and ended the year with a total allocation of 20,500 since our return to government.
The Housing Minister noted that more than 800 homes were built in regions 3, 4, 6 and 10, as well as assigned 40 core homes and approved 302 applications for steel and cement subsidies in the past year.
These activities benefited the very poor and vulnerable and those who qualified for low, moderate, middle and high-income homes.
According to the Housing Minister, over the past 2 years, the government has allocated more than 20,000 house lots, and more will be allocated in the year ahead. A 26-year-old man from Kuru Kuru on the Linden-Suslike Highway has been arrested on suspicion of being involved in auto theft. The man, Romain Watson, who was already before the courts on carjacking charges, was arrested yesterday with 4 car doors in his possession. A police report said a group of ranks was on patrol in the Annandale Market area on the East Coast when they observed the heavily tinted car speeding off from the area. The police pursued the car, forcing it to stop. Watson was the driver of the vehicle, and the search carried out on the vehicle revealed that 4 car doors were stashed in the trunk and the back seat. The man was immediately arrested as he could not provide any clear answers about the items which are suspected to have been stolen. He is likely to face charges in the coming days.
Foodmax Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Foodmax and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Foodmax, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Buster, win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyana's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyana's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
Across the region tonight, former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro loss of broad protections from prosecution when he stepped down on Sunday leaves him more exposed to criminal and electoral probes that could lead to his arrest or prevent him from running for office again. Bolsonaro, a far-right nationalist, left Brazil for Florida on Friday after losing to leftist President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in Brazil's most fraught vote in a generation. It remains unclear how long he plans to stay in Florida, which is home to his political idol, former U.S. President Donald Trump. Bolsonaro's U.S. trip insulates him from any immediate legal jeopardy in Brazil, where he is under investigation in at least 4 criminal probes. The Reuters news agency reports that beyond that, his future may hinge on the path charted by crusading Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes, as well as the political calculations of Lula, who was himself jailed by the Supreme Court back in 2018. At least 7 people were killed in a shootout in Mexico as officials search for 30 inmates who staged a bloody prison break on Sunday. A gunman opened fire on state investigators who were hunting the escapees, killing at least 2 of them. 5 gunmen also died in the shootout, but it is not yet clear if any of the escapees were among those killed. A criminal gang called Los Mexicals is thought to be behind the violence. Sunday's prison break was one of the deadliest in recent times, leaving 10 guards and 7 inmates dead. Suspected members of a criminal gang took advantage of the busy visiting hours on Sunday morning as relatives flocked the jail to wish their loved ones a happy new year. They arrived in several armored cars and opened fire on the guards at the entrance, according to the media in Mexico. And finally tonight, international news. The World Health Organization has warned that China is underrepresenting the true impact of COVID in the country, in particular the deaths. The removal of most restrictions last month has led to a surge in cases, but China has stopped publishing daily cases data and has announced only 22 COVID deaths since December, using its own strict criteria. Dr. Michael Ryan of the World Health Organization said that the WHO believes the definition of a COVID death in China is too narrow. He said China's figures underrepresent the true impact of the disease in terms of hospital admissions, in terms of ICU admissions, and particularly in terms of deaths. China last month changed its criteria for what constitutes a COVID death, meaning only those who die of respiratory illnesses are counted. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.